take you to the glory. I can't stand it, no, yeah.
Hi, I'm Chase Peterson. Welcome to this edition of the Sports Show. I'm joined as always by my friend and co-host Stephen X Factor Hart.
It's good to be back.
It's good to be back. What we're doing, we're taking a little preview at high school hoops in the area. We're actually coming to you live right now from Tigers camp. Stephen is a lead assistant right now for the Tigers. What can you tell us about this year's team?
Well, I've had the chance to go through the grind with the Tigers. Through tryouts, through the first 10 practices or so. I've had a chance to evaluate these players and see them really grow over these first 10 practices. We graduated a lot of seniors from last year, so this team is definitely pretty young.
Yep.
But this team has some potential.
Yep. Always, young teams do have a lot of potential. What do you think is a realistic expectation, realistic ceiling for this team?
Well, honestly, Chase, the vibe coming out of camp is this team wants to make it to the state tournament. They think they have the tools in place to do so. And those young players are really stepping up in those big time roles.
That's great to hear. A tough conference again this year. It always is in the 5A division. Where do you think the Tigers fit in right now?
Like I said, it's going to take a learning curve probably with this young team.
Okay.
There's some talented teams out there, like you said.
Okay.
The Madisons and the Highlands are always good. The Tigers are looking to really make a run this year.
Tigers have a good combo of returning players, some new talent coming in, so they'll be a new look team. We got some guests coming in later. We're going to talk to Idaho Falls forward Jackson Lillenquist, along with Hillcrest wing Trey Johnson, Skyline forward Christian Dean, Mason Baker. We got some great guests coming in. We'll get some insight into this conference, and then, as we know, power rankings coming up at the end. So stay tuned for that.
It's going to be a good show.
We're excited. All right.
فايز هعمل لك معايا سندوتش جبنه.
Just you know why you and I.
باندا ما يتقلهاش لا.
Welcome back, everyone. We're now moving into our interview segment of the show. We had a chance to catch up with some of the local stars in the area, and we're joined first by Trey Johnson out of Hillcrest. All right, we'd like to welcome to the program star Hillcrest wing, Trey Johnson.
Thank you.
Trey, it's great to have you. We're looking at a new Hillcrest team this year. What's going to be different for you guys?
Well, we got a new coach, so setting up a new offense, new defenses, but I don't want to get too far into that.
Of course not.
The other teams don't know what we're doing.
Okay, not getting too far into that right now. What are you looking to do personally to improve on a big freshman year?
I'm looking to go out there and be a leader out on the court. Last year I was a freshman, so I wasn't leading out there as much. But just got to go out there, score, got to play hard defense, and get lots of boards out there.
Of course, we all know you can score that ball. You credit a lot of your success this summer to your experience in the street ball leagues playing for the Peterson Fighting Pygmies. What can you tell us how that experience helped you grow as a player and as a person?
That was a great experience. I mean, I go out there and I'm just attacking the rim.
Yeah.
You see Cooper Peterson under the basket, and I'm just throwing it down on him. And I can't wait for this season because I'm going to see him under there and I'm just going to go throw it down. And also anybody else that's standing under the basket, so you better watch out.
I'm excited to see it. We all are. How far do you think this new coach, this new team can take you?
Well, our ultimate goal is to get a state championship. So I think we can get it as long as we work together as a team. And I like our new coach. I like how we're looking. All
right, great. We're booking it. 2016 state champions, the Hillcrest Knights. Thank you so much for being on the program, Trey. It was great. Wow, great stuff out of Trey Johnson. I can tell you played against him last year. Athletic player, really tough mentally. What have you seen out of Trey out of Hillcrest that you're interested to see this year?
We got another young player locally. He's only a sophomore this year. But he's looking to do big things. He can't score the ball.
Oh, of course.
We seen that last year, and I think with him that year of growth, he's only going to get better.
Yeah, it's going to be big for him. What we do now, we're moving into our next interview. Let's go back and take a look at the interview with Jackson Lillenquist out of Idaho Falls High School. All right, we'd like to welcome our second guest to the show, Tigers forward, BYU commit Jackson Lillenquist. Jackson, how are you doing today?
I am doing great. I'm happy to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
What have you seen out of the Tigers so far in practice?
I mean, to tell you the truth, it's the best setup we've had in 4 years. It's a bunch of studs. I mean, we've got scrappers, people who work. I mean, they know the game. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Matt Bitstrup,
Yeah.
C.J. Rudolph, they're unstoppable.
They have that feeling in them.
Exactly.
All right, so we've talked about them a little bit.
Yeah.
What are we going to see out of you this year?
Well, as one of the few seniors on this team, I realized that I needed to take more of a leadership role.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been reading leadership books.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I mean, Mind Over Matter.
Yep.
Talking about how in sports, the physiological portion is even more important than the physical in almost all ways.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fascinating.
Yep.
I mean, Outliers. I read that book, The 10,000 Hour Rules. I'm at 270 right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm getting there.
Yep. Getting that mental edge in.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's coming in. Once I hit 10,000, I mean,
It's going to be there.
once the team hits 10,000, we'll just be unstoppable.
That's great. They're great stuff.
Yeah.
So you've made some bold predictions. You've been quoted as saying the Tigers are going to take the state championship this year. What can you tell us about
I didn't want
that?
it to come out too soon. I didn't want to sound... well, you know, teams that win are teams that work together.
Mm-hmm.
And we just mesh. There's no outliers. We're one team.
It's great.
We're one. We're not
Yeah.
even a team. We're just one cognitive
Person.
group.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it is. We know each other. We know our weaknesses. We know our strengths, and we play to those. I mean, I just don't think there's anyone
great.
who's going to match up with us.
We're excited to see that magic on the court this year. It's going to be great to see. Thank you so much for joining us tonight,
Thank you.
Lundqvist. It's been great.
I appreciate it.
Lundqvist, as always, great guest. How about that? What did you like from that interview?
Man, I love his mindset towards this season. You know, he's talking about his leadership role
Yeah.
as being one of the few seniors.
Yeah.
You know, mind over matter. I love that
it's
line.
great. It's great stuff.
You know, trying to be in that team as one, not you know, individual players. I think the Tigers are going to look good this year.
And as we're looking at these interviews, you got a lot of winners. I mean, you got a lot of players that are really driven to win, and it will be interesting to see them all competing, clashing out on that court this season.
Absolutely.
Next coming up, we've got Christian Dean out of Skyline. We'd like to welcome our third guest to the show, star Skyline forward Christian Dean. Christian, what's your shuttle run time sitting at right now?
About 7 seconds.
7 seconds, solid time. Our scouts loved what they saw out of you from the blue and white scrimmage. They saw some new moves, an improved face-up game. What are your expectations of yourself this season?
You know, I'm just trying to be a leader out there, you know, just hit those shots.
That's what I like to
Hit
hear.
those threes, do
Yeah.
what a white man should do.
Okay, good. That sounds good. What is the atmosphere going to be like when Mason Baker makes his return to the Taj McGrizz?
It's going to be tough for him, I think.
Okay.
You know, he burned some bridges with a lot of people. I mean, we'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Going to get a W?
Hopefully.
All right. What are your expectations for the team this year?
You know, state championship and make Cooper Peterson cry.
Wonderful. That's what we like to hear. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been a
Thanks for
pleasure.
having me.
All right, there. Some great comments there from Christian Dean. One of the better shooters in the area for sure. He's going to have to take a bigger role for Skyline to be competitive in the conference this year. What did you get out of his interview?
I'm really intrigued to see the matchup when Mason Baker does return to the Taj McGrizz.
Yep.
You know, it's going to be a hostile environment.
It is.
We're going to see how he can handle that pressure.
And it's going to be a big storyline that we're going to be following. We're actually going to hear the other side of the story now. We're joined by Highland lead guard Mason Baker. We'd like to ask you, what's the transition for you been like going to Highland? How's the team looking this year?
The transition's been pretty smooth. I think a lot of the guys have kind of taken into the wing and San Francisco community. They kind of lend out a helping hand and kind of accepted me as one of their own. So I think the transition has been pretty smooth. And I kind of, you know, like the new scenery.
Yeah, for sure. That's great. How do you think the team's going to look this year?
I think we'll be all right. We're gonna have to, you know, play amongst ourselves. You know, not, you know, try to do a whole lot. But I think as long as, you know, we have solid defense and we're, you know, playing for each other, I think is the biggest thing. We're not doing selfish things. I think we'll be all right, and I think the wins and losses will kind of take care of themselves.
Okay, that's great stuff. We talked with Christian Dean a little bit earlier on the show. We know it's going to be a hostile environment for you coming back to the Taj McGrizz. What are you looking forward to? Are you excited? What are you feeling right now?
I'm way excited, actually. It's going to be kind of weird seeing, you know, them in a different jersey and coming out in a different locker room, but I'm not nervous or anything or scared. I'm way excited for that game because, you know, it's always fun to play against your friends. It was fun playing against you guys over at IF, you know, the past couple of years. So I'm just looking forward to that game, and, you know, hopefully we can take care of business. But, yeah, it should be a fun one.
All right. Thank you so much, Mason. We appreciate you joining us.
Yep. Thanks, Chase.
All right. Thank you, Mason. I'll talk to you soon.
interesting stuff coming from Mason Baker. That's a matchup we're going to watch this whole season. Should be interesting. We're now joined with coach of the Idaho Falls Tigers, Coach Howard Hart. Pleasure to have you on the show, Howard.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It's good to be here.
Good. Just a couple quick questions. What are some things that you've seen out of the team the first 10 practices?
Well, in our first 10 practices, we've seen a lot of hustle from every one of the kids that have been on the floor. A lot of great communication. I think our defense has been really quite solid and good, and so we're really hoping that in this first couple of weeks that our defense will kind of help carry us.
Gotcha. The roster this year is a little undersized. How do you look to combat maybe playing some bigger teams with a more sized, taller players?
Well, we're going to have to mix things up even a little bit more than we did last year, but we're going to have to play really sound team defense in order to combat any type of size disadvantage. One. Two, we'll probably put a little more pressure, trap out of different situations than maybe we did last year with the kids that we have to try again to combat the size difference.
Gotcha. This is your second year as the varsity coach for Idaho Falls program. What are your expectations going forward this season for the program and for the varsity team?
Well, I think from a program and from the varsity team standpoint, you always want to try to get better from what you did the previous year. We had some great kids last year that helped set the foundation for that first year, and now it's up to these kids and it's up to the program to grow from that foundation.
Great stuff. You heard it here first. Coach Howard Hart, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely fantastic stuff there from Idaho Falls head coach Howard Hart. Always great to get the head coach's perspective. A little different than the players, offers a little more insight. What did you get out of that interview, Stephen?
I think Coach Hart is looking for his team to play good, solid, fundamental defense and rebound the ball well. He mentioned that there might be some mismatch problems with the size that they have, but I think if they do those things, they'll be all right.
Yep, I do as well. It will be interesting to watch all year. So what we have now is we have an exclusive sports show 3 for 3 presented by Sports Authority. Get out and play. Narrated by our own Stephen X Factor Hart. Let's go to that right now.
What if I told you fairy tale endings don't always start from the top? As a young boy, Cooper Peterson often found himself hiding in his room as the sound of gunshots rung outside his window. Growing up in the city of Idaho Falls, Cooper saw firsthand the effect that drugs, alcohol, addiction, and gang violence had on those around him. He knew he must find a way out.
I saw the situation that I was in, and I saw that it wasn't healthy for me or for those around me. And I had some cousins, and I had a brother who I saw they didn't make it, and they didn't make it. And so for me, I was like, and they didn't make it in the game of basketball. For me, I was like, in this sport, in this lifestyle, I gotta be able to make it for me and for them, and of course for my family. Because when it all comes down to it, I picked the game up for my family, for myself, for my brothers.
Growing up as the second child of 3, Cooper did not want to follow in the footsteps of many who had walked and fell short in the halls of IF High. He knew there was no way of moving out of Tiger Nation boundaries, so he found the only alternative he knew of: basketball. Cooper, growing up in Idaho Falls, going to the inner city school, not many people make it out of that situation. It's a tough situation to be in. What's going to be different about you?
I get it. I get that growing up like I've grown up, and in this situation where I've grown up, where I've been around, I get that not many people make it out of that situation. I get it, the odds are stacked against me. But I think what separates me from the others is my work ethic. I think I'm constantly in the gym, constantly out there trying to get it, And it's hard. It's hard to do it on a day-to-day basis, but I think that's what separates me. It's just consistency and work ethic.
In order order to stay away from fights that often occur at this location, Cooper uses the cover of darkness to practice his skills at world-famous Sunnyside Court. Unfortunately, your time will come to pass at some point or another. What do you want your legacy to be when that time does come? What do you want people to remember you for?
That's a tough question. People say they want to be remembered for a moment, for a championship, for a game-winning shot. But I think most of all, I just want to be remembered for the person that I was through those moments. Obviously, I'll probably get a championship, with the Tigers. I'll probably hit a couple game winners here. It's
for sure.
You'll probably hit a couple, but I just want to remain, low, stay low. Don't get too high. Stay low, stay humble. That's what I've been raised in. That's how I've been raised. Just be the person that you were raised to be. Remember who you are. I think that's just what I want people to remember about me as a person, as a player.
Sometimes in life, we have to start from the bottom in order to accomplish our dreams. Cooper Peterson has taught us that humility is the true key to success.
ايه ده؟ ما تيجي نجيب باندا يا بابا؟
يا ابني ده ما جبنا حاجات كتير.
Just you know why you and I will buy and
باندا ما يتقلهاش لا.
All right, welcome back. We had the chance to get some interviews, get some insight from those players. We're going to do some power rankings now. Let's start off at number one. Who's your number one team in the conference right now?
I think it's a pretty easy decision at number one. I think Madison takes the cake at number one.
Yeah.
They got a lot of young talent.
Yep.
Billy Hawkins is always a
always
great
does
coach.
a good job. Yep.
Does a good job with his players.
Yep.
So I got them in my number one spot.
Okay, yeah, we played against them last year, and you could see it. It was apparent they're up and coming, and I think this is their year. They're ready, so we're going to start them out at number one. Number two, I think it's the Highland Rams right now.
Okay.
They got two top 10 players in the state, I believe, in Connor Harding, Mason Baker, going to form a nice 1-2 punch, and they always have a cast of athletes and shooters around them.
Absolutely. Always a physical team.
Yep.
Always tough to play up in Pocatello.
Uh-huh.
I think it's a good choice at number two.
That home court advantage is big for them for sure. At three, we've got a tie. At first team, we got the Hillcrest Knights at three. Trey Johnson, who we talked to earlier, going to be a great player this year in the league. McKay Mangeris, McKay Carlson, two good shooters, two good players for him. What do you like with Hillcrest?
I think just more of the same thing, kind of a young team.
Yep.
They got a new coach, a new face to the program.
Yep.
Kind of a new start, new beginnings for this team. I think they've got some big things in store.
It'll be fun to watch them this year. Our other team tied for three is the Idaho Falls Tigers. You've had a chance to be around them, look at them. Why do you put them at three?
I think they have a good coach in Coach Howard Hart.
Yep.
They got some good players. Sawyer Storms is coming back.
Yep.
Having experienced varsity last year.
Of course.
They got some young players as well. Some juniors that are gonna have to step up big time. But they got some shooters. They got some speed. I think I'm really looking forward to seeing what this team can do.
It'll be a fun team to watch up and down the court. Everything, we'll see it from them. At number five, we've got the Skyline Grizzlies. It's going to be kind of hard for them. They've been in the Baker brother, J.J. Eli era for seeming like forever now. And they'll move on, starring with Christian Dean, building around him. What do you expect out of Skyline this year?
I think it's going to be another rebuilding situation for the Skyline Grizzlies.
Yep.
It's hard to lose the talent that they lost.
Yep.
You're going to have to find a new face to the program, a new leader out there. I think Christian Dean can do that.
Yep.
But we'll see how this season plays out.
Yep. Good shooting team, good defensive team. So, of course, these teams are all going to be competitive regardless of where they land in the power rankings. At number six, we got the Bonneville Bees. They lost a lot of production last year in the form of Kelly Davenport, Keegan Hansen, Caden Lawrence. They lost a lot. And I just don't know that the cast they have coming back has the varsity experience to push them over the top.
It's a big loss to losing Telly Davenport. He's definitely their leader. He could score at will, get to the basket at will. I mean, you can't replace that.
No.
And that's something that the Bees are going to have to overcome if they want to be competitive. We'll see how it plays out though. They got some people that can potentially do some things.
And coaching wise, I don't know if he'll be able to compete with the other coaches. Just some great coaches in this league, and so you can't be out coached and outplayed on the court. And I think that might happen to him in a few games this year. But of course, they're going to be competitive. We wish them the best of luck. It's going to be a great league this year.
It is. I'm excited to see how these teams they play out. We got some young teams. We got some veteran teams. It's going to be fun to watch.
Some great storylines as always. Mason Baker, of course, we've touched on that. You've got just some movement of talents, a lot of graduation. A lot of players have the opportunity now to step up, make a name for themselves, and where else better to do it than at the 5A level?
Absolutely, Chase.
Well, we're going to be excited. We're going to be watching all year. It's been great being with you tonight. Thank you for joining us. Any last words, Stephen?
I'm just excited for the season.
Yep.
It's going to be a great one. Thanks for watching, guys.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Good night.